Dear students, welcome to another lecture on bioinformatics, and today's topic is on ESTs and their role in DNA sequence analysis. The major objectives of today's lecture are to familiarize the students about ESTs and cDNA libraries, to tell them about how to access ESTs, to give them an idea about the different approaches of EST analysis, to make them aware about the issue in the interpretation of EST searches, to give them a brief account of the expression profile of the cell, and to discuss about the different approaches to EST analysis and effect of EST data on DNA databases. Let's begin with the introduction. The benefits arising from the rapid generation of large numbers of low-quality cDNA sequences were not universally recognized when the concept was originally proposed in the late 1980s. Proponents of this approach argued that these cDNA sequences would allow for the quick discovery of hundreds or thousands of novel protein coding genes. Their critics countered that cDNA sequencing would miss important regulatory elements that could be found only in the genomic DNA. In the end, the cDNA sequencing advocates appear to have won. ESTs have been widely used for gene discovery because ESTs outnumber other nucleotide sequences in the GenBank, and researchers hunting for the novel gene are much more likely to find it in the DBEST than in the rest of GenBank. ESTs are not included in the BLAST nucleotide database, and sequence similarity searches for ESTs must target the EST database. Gene discovery methods using ESTs include, for instance, hunting for novel members of gene families in the same species that represents the paralogs for functionally equivalent genes in other species that represents the orthologs, or even for alternatively spliced forms of known genes. Gene discovery using DBST is very rapid, requiring only a few minutes for the BLAST search. For example, ADAM10, also known as Cusbanian, is a well-studied gene with known orthologs in human, mouse, rat, cow, frog, pig, fruit fly, and worm. A T-BLAST-N search of DBST with the human protein sequence quickly reveals not only many of these known genes, but also an additional likely ortholog in zebrafish. Discovering alternatively spliced transcripts among ESTs is more problematic. For one, it is difficult to determine if the new sequences are due to alternative splicing or to the presence of contaminating genomic DNA sequence in EST libraries. An analysis of the TIGR human gene index using a spliced alignment algorithm provided evidence that up to 35% of human genes may undergo alternative splicing, and that the majority of these events occurred in the 5' untranslated regions. The uses of ESTs extend beyond mammals. For example, until recently, the public databases contained little sequence data from Toxoplasma gondii, a disease-causing protozoan parasite of human. A large-scale project generated 7,005' ESTs representing approximately 4,000 unique sequences from Toxoplasma gondii. Comparisons between the ESTs and sequences in public databases identified potential functions for 500 novel Toxoplasma gondii genes. Some ESTs are phylogenetically restricted to T. gondii and other members of the Apicomplexa phylum. Dear students, let's now talk about the ESTs. ESTs stand for Expressed Sequence Tag, is a partial sequence of a clone, randomly selected from a cDNA library and used to identify genes expressed in a particular tissue. We do not always have the full-length DNA sequences. A large part of currently available DNA data is made up of partial sequences, the majority of which are expressed sequence tags. In analyzing ESTs, some points should be kept in mind. First, the EST alphabet is 5 characters. Second, there may be phantom indels resulting in translation frame shifts. Third, the ESTs will often be subsequence of any other sequence in the database. And fourth, the EST may not represent part of the coding sequence of any gene. Let's discuss how an EST is sequenced. First of all, a cDNA library is constructed from a tissue or cell line of interest. The mRNA is isolated from tissue or cell. The mRNA is then reverse transcribed into cDNA, usually with an oligo-DT primer, so that one end of the cDNA insert derives from the poly A tail at the end of the mRNA. The other end of the cDNA is normally within the coding sequence, but may be in the 5' untranslated region if the coding sequence is short. Finally, the resulting cDNA is cloned into a vector. Individual clones are picked from the library and one sequence is generated from each end of the cDNA insert. Thus, each clone normally has a 5' and 3' EST associated with it. Because ESTs are short, they generally represent only fragments of genes and not complete coding sequences. A typical EST will be between 200 to 500 bases in length. The EST production process is normally highly automated and typically involves use of a fluorescent laser system that reads the sequencing gels. The resulting sequences are downloaded to a computer system for further analysis. Does this EST represent a new gene? To answer this question, a DNA database search is usually performed. If the result shows a significant similarity to a database sequence, the normal procedure for classifying the hit will determine whether a novel gene has been found. If, however, the result shows no significant similarity, we cannot immediately assume that a new gene has been discovered. It may be that EST represents non-coding sequence for a known gene. This simply is not in the database. Many mRNAs, especially humans, have long untranslated regions at the 5' and 3' ends of the coding sequences. It's possible for an EST to be entirely from one of these non-coding regions. If we are lucky, the section of untranslated non-coding sequence will already be in the database. If it is, a direct match will be found as untranslated regions are highly conserved and specific to their coding gene. If we are unlucky, no match will be found, indicating one of the two possibilities. Either, first, the ESTs represent a coding sequence for which there is no similar sequence on the database, still a distinct possibility, or second, it represents a non-coding sequence that's not in the database. It's critical to the interpretation of the EST analysis that a distinction is made between these two situations. Dear students, let's now discuss how to access ESTs. ESTs are submitted to all the three international sequence databases, that is GenBank, European Molecular Biology Laboratory, and DNA Databank of Japan, under the data sharing agreement. ESTs can be accessed through all of these databases regardless of where the sequence was originally submitted. The same ESTs are also available from the NCBI's DBST, the database of express sequence tags. Instructions about how to submit EST sequences to GenBank are available online. EST sequences are also available for BLAST searching. Because ESTs are nucleotide sequences, they can be retrieved only by using BLAST programs that search nucleotide databases. BLASTN for a nucleotide sequence query, tBLASTN for a protein sequence query, and tBLASTX for a translated nucleotide sequence query. Because they make up such a high proportion of sequences. In GenBank, ESTs are not included in the BLAST nucleotide database. To search against ESTs, select the DBST database, or for a specific organism, the mouse ESTs, human ESTs, or other ESTs database. Note that ESTs are also included in the month database, which contains all new or revised sequences released in the last 30 days. Dear students, let's now talk about the cDNA libraries. The single-stranded DNA fragments synthesized by the reverse transcriptase are converted into double-stranded DNA fragments by making use of an enzyme, DNA polymerase. And then these fragments are inserted into a plasmid or phage vector and finally cloned. Each clone obtained in this way is called a cDNA clone, and the entire collection of clones derived from one mRNA preparation constitutes cDNA library. The cDNA clones are different than genomic cDNA clones as they contain only those regions of the genome that have been transcribed into mRNA. Because the cells of different tissues produce distinct sets of mRNA molecules, a distinct cDNA library is obtained for each type of cell used to prepare the library. Preparing probes from the contig regions and hybridizing them to a cDNA library can also identify genes. Since the cDNA library contains only expressed sequences, a positive cross-reaction identifies expressed regions of the contig, that's the genes. This method is particularly useful if you have a good idea of which tissue in the body expresses the gene they are trying to clone. Otherwise, cDNA libraries from many different tissues may not be screened. Dear students, let's now discuss about the issues in the interpretation of EST searches. There are many drawbacks in using ESTs for expression profile analysis. EST sequences are often of low quality because they are automatically generated without verification and thus contains high error rates. Many bases are ambiguously determined, represented by n's. Common errors also include frame shift errors and artifactual stop codons, resulting in failures of translating the sequences. Besides, there is often contamination by vector sequences, introns from unspliced RNAs, ribosomal RNA, mitochondrial RNA, among others. On the other hand, ESTs represent only partial sequences of genes. Gene sequences at the 3' end tend to be more heavily represented than those at the 5' end because reverse transcription is primed with oligo-DT primers. Unfortunately, the sequences from the 3' end are also more error-prone because of the low base call quality at the start of sequence reads. Another problem of ESTs is the presence of chimeric clones owing to cloning artifacts in library construction in which more than one transcript is ligated in a clone, resulting in the 5' end of a sequence representing one gene and the 3' end of another gene. It has been estimated that up to 11% of cDNA clones may be chimeric. Another fundamental problem with EST profiling is that it predominantly represents highly expressed, abundant transcripts. Weakly expressed genes are hardly found in an EST sequencing analysis. Despite these limitations, EST technology is still widely used. This is because EST libraries can be easily generated from various cell lines, tissues, organs, and at various developmental stages. ESTs can also facilitate the unique identification of a gene from a cDNA library. A short tag can lead to a cDNA clone. Although individual ESTs are prone to error, an entire collection of ESTs contains valuable information. Often after consolidation of multiple EST sequences, a full-length cDNA can be derived. By searching a non-redundant EST collection, one can identify potential genes of interest. Dear students, let's now talk about the expression profile of a cell. One of the goals of genome projects is to sequence all the genes in the genome of different organisms. One way suggested is sequencing the large sections of the chromosomes using either manual or automated sequencing techniques. The first chromosome from the eukaryotic organism to be sequenced in this manner was chromosome 3 from Saccharomyces cerevisiae, in an international collaboration completed in 1992. The Human Genome Sequencing Project was completed in 2003 and that of mouse genome in 2008. There are two distinct stages in understanding any genome, first having complete sequences and second is to know their function. Those parts of the genome are focused that are transcribed into RNA and finally translated into functional protein. Sequences that are translated in this way make up the expressed genome for a specified cell type. Cells express a different range of genes at various stages in their development and functioning. This characteristic range of gene expression is the expression profile of the cell. By capturing the cell's expression profile, it's possible to get a picture of different levels of gene expression that indicates normal or abnormal with respect to the relative expression levels between different genes within the same cell. This process also provides a rapid approach to gene discovery that complements genome sequencing projects. Dear students, let's now talk about the different approaches of EST analysis. Various approaches to establish libraries of ESTs for scientific and commercial exploitation have been developed. There are three major sources of EST information. Much of the publicly available data are collected together into the EST sections of the EMBL data library and the GenBank DBST. EST data is subjected to rigorous filtering processes prior to database submission owing to the poor quality of EST sequences. The Institute of Genomic Research (TIGR) provides detailed information on its protocol. The first one is the Merck image. Merck and Corporation in 1994 funded a research project based at the University of Washington to sequence 30,000 ESTs from a variety of normalized libraries. By choosing to use normalized libraries, quantitative information on levels of gene expression in the source tissue was sacrificed in an attempt to increase the sampling of different genes. These libraries represent a broad cross-section of tissue types of interest to a wide variety of researchers. Once identified, licensing of clones for use as reagents in further molecular biological experiments is a straightforward and cheap task. For many years, Merck has sponsored the production of drug index. This initiative has become known as the Merck Gene Index. The second one is the Insight. Insight Pharmaceuticals produces a database LifeSpec that emphasizes the quantitative information derived by sequencing standard cDNA libraries. The ultimate aim is to provide information on relative copy numbers of transcribed genes in healthy and diseased tissues to facilitate the elucidation of potential therapeutic targets. Library sample sizes tend to be small, reflecting the desire to find the essential differences in gene expression between samples rather than searching for every last gene by EST analysis. Insight's products are available on a commercial basis and tend to be licensed by large organizations. The approach taken is of interest, however, because this is a prime example of a biology in silico company capitalizing on genome informatics as a source of revenue. The another one is the TIGR. The Institute of Genomic Research is a non-profit research organization with interests in structural, functional, and comparative analysis of genomes and gene products. The range of organisms covered includes viruses, eubacteria, pathogenic bacteria, archaea, and eukaryotes, both flora and fauna. Dear students, let's now discuss about the effect of EST data on DNA databases. ESTs by their nature are incomplete and to a certain degree inaccurate. Their sole importance lies in the possibility that a match may be found with another EST or more complete piece of information in the available database. DNA databases now contain such a rich variety of sequence data ranging from full-length coding sequences to genomic sequences and ESTs that adding EST data may not seem to constitute a problem. However, when EST data were first incorporated in the public datasets, some consternation was expressed that the quality and validity of these resources was being compromised. This consternation probably arose as a result of unfamiliarity with the techniques required to analyze this new form of data, mixed with a degree of concern that ESTs were shortcut and perhaps a rather underhand one at that to developing a complete gene set, a goal that ought properly to belong to the Human Genome Project. Whatever the political sensitivities, ESTs do add a factor of noise to databases, if only because there is always some degree of uncertainty as to the accuracy of the single pass sequence. On the positive side, ESTs enrich the DNA sequence databases by adding partial sequence representations of some genes that are not otherwise available in those resources, whether coding or non-coding. This is an end of today's lecture. Hope you have enjoyed and understood it well. Thank you.